spiritual drink. It is so important that we reclaim our American pride for future generations. You know, my wife Angela is here with me. We have two daughters, 17 and 13 years of age. And it is for me to make sure that they have all the great freedoms that my parents ensured for me.
Yes, sir.
And it's to ensure that your children and your grandchildren have the exact same. So I don't care how many names I get called or whatever. Doctor, I'm getting my mojo on. But this is so important. This is our time. It's a critical time. There's a test that's coming on the 2nd of November. I don't want it to be the final exam.
Amen.
Remember that. Doc.
I just want to ask you, what are your thoughts on Obama?
You know, I come back to this. The will of the people did not want that to happen. So we must respect the will of the people, because if we don't respect the will of the people, we lose our Now, people talk about repealing that piece of that law. If you don't have the 2/3 majority to override a presidential veto, it will be very difficult to repeal it, but we need to look at how can, in Congress, since they hold the purse string, do we defund those portions of this thing that are reprehensible and goes against us. 111 new government agencies don't allow it to happen. 11 new taxes don't allow it to happen. But I tell you, we should have coverage for people with pre-existing conditions. So I do agree with that. So it is not about throwing the baby out with the bathwater. It is about doing a good and solid analysis and assessment, but making sure we stay within our constitutional principles that establish the Congress as the keeper of appropriations, and we just don't fund it. Yes, sir.
If you were in Congress and Israel strikes Iran, what are your words to the United States immediately?
My words to the United States immediately is that we have the back of Israel. Because we have to do that. Because, ladies and gentlemen, what we must do if we allow Israel to fall, and what we talked about today was Judeo-Christian principles and our heritage and our tradition. What does that say about us if we allow Israel to fall? What does that say about us if my children are not able to go and visit that Holy Land? What does that say about us if we turn our backs on the commitment? Because the United States was the first country to recognize the state of Israel back in 1948. Israel must, it shall always and forevermore stand. And it says in the Bible, I will bless those that bless you.
Yes.
I will curse those who curse you. And you think about all the different people that have tried to stand up against Israel over time. What happened? We must stand because there is an inextricable tie between the United States of America and the state of Israel. It is the shining light in a sea of darkness that is being led by autocrats, despots, dictators, and theocrats. We must stand with Israel, and that would be my message to the American people.
Yes, sir.
It seems to me that
You're blocking his camera view.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay.
I just want to make sure you get
Sorry.
it.
It seems to me that the professional politicians in Washington have lost touch with us. Do you think the possibility of term limits for them might help?
Well, this is the thing. You know, let's go back and do a little quick history test. In 2008, Congress had an approval rating of about 22%. What was the re-election rate for incumbents in 2008? 93%. So the thing is, until you get people up in Washington, D.C. that will stand upon the true foundational principles of this country, the founding fathers never meant to establish a ruling class elite. Did y'all pay attention to what it said here? That there were certain priests that did not have to give up their lands, that did not have to participate in that. The exact same thing in Washington, D.C. We have a ruling class elite. We have what is becoming a Soviet-style Politburo that is forming. And you know what? It's both sides of the aisle. But it is incumbent upon each and every one of you to make the difference. And I do believe in term limits. Because I believe that the maximum anyone should be up there is 12 years. Now, I think that in the House of Representatives, the maximum you should get over there are 4 terms of 2 years, 8 years. Because if you're in the House of Representatives, you want to jump over and run for a Senate seat, that's fine. But the maximum you can stay up there is 12 years. We cannot have dingle Congressman Dingell from Michigan, 57 years. Charlie Rangel, 40 years. 47 years, 53 years. And that leads them into having a disconnect with the American people, because they are not going up there, doing the business of legislating, and coming back and living under those laws. See, recess, as the founding fathers understood it, meant that you went back to work in your farm, or as a doctor, or a lawyer, or as a soldier, or whatever. Recess does not mean a taxpayer-funded vacation, which is where we find ourselves today. But it's not going to happen, it's not going to change until you, the American people, realize that it's a constitutional republic that has a democratic process, and you've got to send the people that you elevate from your communities to be your voice and hold them to a high standard. That's what you have to do. If I let you down, I'm coming home. I am. That's just how I am as a soldier, because I believe in honor, integrity, and character. And I'm not going to look at myself in the mirror and not uphold the highest standards of those three characteristics. Yes, sir.
It seems to me we have in the Constitution a tremendous battle going on between states' rights and the federal government. And it seems to me that this battle began in 1913 when we passed the 16th Amendment, the income tax. As a federal representative, what would you do to get a tax rate these states united as opposed to a federal America?
Well, I think that what you're saying is very important. We have to respect the rights of the state. And let's talk about what's happening out there with Arizona, the legal immigration decision. If you go to the Constitution, and there are three different places where it talks about Article 1, Section 8, Article 1, Section 10, and Article 4, Section 4. It talks about the responsibility of the federal government when it comes to, they term it, repelling invasions. And that's what's happening along our borders. But in Article 1, Section 10, it talks about how the state has the right, in lieu of the federal government not doing their job, to do something if they consider themselves in immediate danger without hesitation or delay. And then we also come back to the 10th Amendment, which says all of those enumerated powers which are not granted come to the states and to the individual. That's who we are. And if we, as a constitutional republic, don't uphold the rule of law, then we become a lawless society. So when you look at taxation, okay, the progressive tax system that we have, and there are some other things that happened in 1913 were so good. The progressive tax system that we have right now lends itself to class warfare. 47% of Americans are not paying federal income taxes. Yet that same 47% votes. So a very manipulative government, just like what we saw here in this passage. I'll tell you, this is a brilliant passage out of Genesis 47. And you pastors, I don't have any, claim or any patent on this. You've got to take this message to the people. That's one of the responsibilities that you have, is to educate our people. And there it is in the Bible. Because if we do not get to a point where everyone has skin in the game in the United States of America, that's why I'm a proponent of a flat tax. I know that the opposition is running around here talking some foolishness that I believe in a 23% national sales tax. That's called a fair tax. That's a consumption tax. I believe a flat tax is the way we should go in the United States of America. Flatten out our personal income tax and also flatten out our corporate business tax rates. Because if you want to have long-term sustainable economic growth, it comes from the private sector. It comes from the individuals. It does not come from Washington, D.C., which is what has happened right now, because so much of your wealth is being kidnapped. And I want to end on this point. Do you all realize what can happen in January 2011 when it comes to revenue and taxation in the United States of America? If the tax cuts end, and they're telling you they're only going to go after the top 1% of the upper tax bracket. That's a lie. Okay? Once again, that's a dishonest tyranny. It will be every tax bracket that will be affected with a 4 to 5% increase. If the dividends tax comes back, if capital gains taxes increase, the marriage credit goes away. The child tax credit is cut in half from 1,000 to 500. The alternative minimum tax population goes from 4 million to 28 million. You're going to wake up in January 2011, and American people will find themselves with the largest tax increase they have seen in quite some time. You will find yourself with anywhere from a 65 to 75% federal level marginal tax rate. How are we going to grow a country like that? How are we going to sustain an economy? How are we going to have investment, ingenuity, innovation, and growth with that? You're not. But what you will have is all of your wealth being taken up to Pharaoh, and you will become their economic slaves. And I'll tell you, a great example, go to my neighborhood in Atlanta, Georgia. and you see what was once, when I was growing up, a vibrant community,